Good Monday morning, y'all. Hope everybody had a good weekend and ready to get going here for this week. And let's start out by going back to the 125th Psalm, Psalm 125, and we'll be looking at verse 3 today. Psalm 125, verse 3. And if you remember last week when we finished up, we just started into this psalm. And this psalm, again, is one written dealing with the trouble, the trials, the feelings of being surrounded by the enemy, being overwhelmed by the enemy. And again, something that our circumstances may be a little different from the psalmist. Again, not completely sure when this was written. The thought is that it was probably written, maybe indication when you read it that it was written during the time after the Jews returned from Babylon and began, under the direction of Nehemiah, to rebuild their walls. But and the enemies were trying to keep them from building their walls. We may not be in the wall building business, but we certainly live in a world where generally we find ourselves outnumbered. We find ourselves surrounded by the enemy in our workplace, in our communities, many times in our own families. And so the psalmist is just teaching us that even in those situations, that we continue to put our confidence and trust in the Lord. And so look with me at verse 3. For the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands unto iniquity. And what's happening again is assuming that we are correct in the timing of this psalm. The Israelites had to deal with this issue. I mean, even if, regardless of what the timing is, that statement holds true. They had to deal with it. They had to figure out a way to continue. They had to figure out a way to continue to serve God and deal with those who were the sinners, the wicked that were coming against them. And their comfort came in knowing that that it only this wasn't going to go on forever. That the evil doers would not ultimately win. That the day would come when God would defeat evil, and that the righteous would win. And they say that here, that the rod of the wicked will not rest upon the lot of the righteous. And the rod, again, is talking about um, the the king, the scepter that a king would hold. And he's saying that that the wicked, the evil, may currently look like they are the king. They may look like they're in charge and that they're calling the shots, but the day that won't last. Eventually, they will be overthrown. And that rod or that scepter is, again, a sign of the king's authority. They may be calling the shots now. Again, that may look like they're winning, but again, the day comes when God will break them, and they will not have complete and ultimate reign throughout eternity. And he says, let the righteous put forth their hands, lest the righteous put forth their hands unto iniquity. Um, the reminder there is that while they were being attacked, while they were dealing with these wicked enemies, that the righteous sometimes would be tempted with the idea of joining in, of going against the Word of God. And what the psalmist is saying here is, again, that the wicked will be overthrown, the godly will win, as long as the godly, the righteous people don't turn their back on the principles of the Lord. And you and I know today that we may look at that and on first glance think, well, it seems like the wicked still winning. It seems like the unrighteous are still, calling the shots and still in charge. Well, they may be, but what we know that probably the audience here just couldn't quite wrap their mind around is that the day is coming when every knee shall bow and every tongue confess, and that wicked, evil sin is going to be defeated and cast into the lake of fire. Christ is going to set up his eternal reign in the New Jerusalem. We're going to rule and reign together with him. And so again, sometimes it's hard to remember that and remember that until that time, until that day comes, we will be surrounded by sinners. We will have to continue to deal with the consequences of a fallen earth. We'll continue to have to face temptation, but ultimately, we know that in the end, God wins. That he defeats sin as Satan is cast into the lake of fire, and that's something. It's kind of interesting to read some of these psalms and think about what the original audience, how they thought about it, how much differently we think. Because again, as they read that, they're thinking, okay, but we're not seeing anything getting any better. We know that there is hope. We know that today, no matter what we face, no matter what you go through today, no matter what battles you have, that we know that the day is coming when Jesus Christ is going to set up his reign and defeat Satan and sin, and righteousness will rule for eternity. And that is our blessed hope. That is the thing that is the one hope that should keep a Christian pushing forward and moving on towards the mark, as Paul calls it, the high calling, the goal of Jesus Christ. Have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.